Good morning. Okay, so I asked in the chat if you really need an update from me, and the answer was basically yes. So these are my raw thoughts. Now, just bear in mind, I know that there was some thing that happened last night about the strategic reserve. Trump fucked up crypto again. And just news aside, I'm not caught up on it. Like this is my first chance looking at charts today. And so I haven't done any research on that. So just bear all of that in mind. But, you know, I mean, to me, the price tells me what I need to know. I don't necessarily need to study anything other than charts or form an opinion. So I do, at a quick glance, I have something that immediately stood out to me on the daily time frame that I'm going to get into. And I also want to talk about S&P. So I said this on Twitter the other day. Let's see if I can quickly find it. I was talking about hold on, where is it? Um, Here. I said, I don't really care about the crypto summit. The stock market and the dollar is dictating what crypto can do longer term right now. Crypto news is just pump and dumps at the moment. So I wrote this yesterday. And so when I have a look at Bitcoin last night or what happened whilst I wasn't watching, look, you know, like that kind of just proves, I don't know, whatever was said here, which is, 4 a.m. for me, so I wasn't part of it. It just proves my point. So I really don't care. I honestly feel like all this crypto summit and strategic reserve, I feel like it's all a distraction. And it's a distraction on purpose for a much bigger thing that's going to happen in the future. And like maybe that's a conspiracy theory, but I don't know. I don't have a reason not to come up with conspiracy theories because they've saved my ass in trading like all this time. So let's talk about the conspiracy theory. On the daily time frame, when I look at these candles, this fully looks like a bear flag, right? It's sort of undeniable that we had this drop and wait, hold on. And if I was to just draw wick to wick, let's say, and then maybe that part is still forming, right? It looks like it's in the process of creating a bear flag. It's right, undeniable. Um, Now, daily time frame price between the 50 and 200 EMA is a no trade zone. It's decision. The decision is being made. So it does require patience because the 200 is here and the 50 is here and price is in the middle. So just be aware of that. I do think that we just have, you know, I don't know, 1 maybe 2 weeks left of just a little bit of uncertainty. But I also think that uncertainty is really going to lead to the greatest trade of all time for us. And I'm fine and happy to be patient waiting for that. Now, and in the meantime, whilst being patient and waiting, I have to try to figure out what is the market maker doing. So when I look at this potential bear flag that's forming, one thing that heavily stands out to me is the bidding every time we drop down. Meaning, look at this candle here that dropped to the downside and look how extremely large that wick is, right? This candle here that dropped to the downside, how extremely large that wick is. Today's candle, guaranteed, granted, it's not closed, like 16 hours to go, and this could close as anything different. But at this point in time, very large wick to the downside. So that tells me any moves to the downside right now are by the dip opportunities. And I don't usually say that, um, or potentially long opportunities or whatever. But it also tells me this could go on for a bit longer. So it could be trapping shorts, maybe to eventually spike out to the upside, liquidate them, do the one last final drop down into here, scare the life out of everyone, and then we recover. So there's that, but I also now have to look out for a second scenario in case this here is the market maker starting to build longs now. I don't know that yet. but I have to start to build a second scenario. So I do like this scenario currently because it makes sense. It's the Elliott wave. It will be the ABC correction. I can see the trading light orders there at 70K, but there's no guarantee that's going to happen. So I'm just trying to think what might be a different scenario that could happen. And when I look at this, I'm just aware of these wicks, and I'm starting to wonder if that is potentially the market maker building longs against us. Um, Whilst we are all ridiculously bearish. Like, I'm in this influencer group on WhatsApp. There's like 200 influencers, some of the biggest influencers in crypto, and they're all have lost hope, and I'm like, wow, these are the biggest influencers in the space. What are you talking about? Like, to me, this I think would be the greatest thing of all time. We'll get the final flush out, and then the final leg resumes. But there's actually doubt that there is another leg coming from some of the biggest people in the space. And yeah, I find that shocking because I feel very hopeful about this. And like I said, I'm looking for a second scenario where this may not happen, because what I don't want to do is hold on, not deploy money if that's what I decide to do, or not miss out on the next best long in the event that this side doesn't happen. Like, I don't want to marry myself to this idea, which is probably a good lesson for you guys as well, because sometimes, you might decide that you're going short, and then the trade just like doesn't play out, and throughout the trade you're like, no, it's going to happen. Like, sometimes you just got to have a look at the price action and go, is my original idea still actually do I still believe it's going to happen? Or is new market structure showing me that potentially something else might happen? So with that in mind, I'm now going to also start looking for a second scenario where this right here is actually starting to form a left side W. And what I think will confirm that to me will be something, like this, where maybe because we're trapping shorts here, we have some sort of move to the upside that is like a stop hunt, traps traders. Like, I can see a vector candle here. That might be the target area. It's also, 50% of the original channel, so like people who are break retesting type traders, that will be a break of the trend line. This is a retest. They go short. We spike up into here, liquidate them, then we come down, but we hold maybe the EMA, or we just then don't come down into this vector, which would end up becoming the lower area of interest, right? So I'm going to now keep an eye out for one of these two scenarios and see which one I think is more likely. Now, when I look at trading light, there's nothing to show me that anybody wants to buy it around 85. I don't think. No, we still have the orders down at 72, and nothing really. But we also don't have heavy shorts right now. I'm just going to check some other exchanges as well. So BitMEX is trying to send it down. Interesting. So just remember, BitMEX is where the whales trade on. So if you want to know and when I say whales, I mean the nasty people in crypto, right? Like they're not regulated by anything. They're not market makers. They're whales. They're people who bought Bitcoin really cheap and now they're rich AF, and they have enough money to move markets, and they don't have a boss. So yeah, you want to know what the real degenerates of crypto are doing, you look at BitMEX. And so we can see the short orders here at 89, but we can also see this here is trying to send price down currently at 87,300. So yeah, they're playing a few games right now, and you'll see them come out when there's low volume, low liquidity. It's easier for them to move markets. Weekends, bank holidays, they come out because, if we're talking about a hierarchy of people, you've got us, the little fish, the retail, then you've got whales, then you've got market makers. So we can't compete, our money can't compete against market makers. Whales can't compete against market makers, right? So market makers are the top of the food chain. These guys are in the middle. So the only way they can get control and make money is if the market makers are sleeping or on holiday or something like that. So Yeah, so right now, it's probably a good day for them to have a play, to be honest, because what was I going to say? Oh, actually, that's not a short order. That's a long order because price is above. Sorry, these are longs trying to push price up. So that's a price squeeze because they're so close together. 87.3 and then shorts here at 89.2. I forgot what I was going to say after that. Oh, yeah. Market makers are probably going to be sitting on their hands today with, this summit situation and whatnot. So it's a good day for them to have a bit of play. Below price, look, they've got much lower orders. They're thinking 61, 57. God, we hope not. And they're still look, this is showing that they're still thinking eventually we're going to go up. Eventually we're still 120K is still the target. Those orders are still there. But it's just a matter of in this daily zone, where do we get that next best long? Is it going to be here or is it going to be here? That's sort of what we have to wait and see. So that's my initial thoughts, but I also think that I think that the crypto news right now is just designed to distract us. I don't think it does anything to the price macro. Like, other than a at the news event pump and dump or dump and pump, it doesn't do anything macro. Right now, we're more sort of dictated by what the stock market is doing. And when we have a look at the Dixie, it looks like it might break my target. It's currently a double bottom at my target, but if it breaks it, not good. Now, also, even if it bounces, it might only be temporary. Right now, everything is positively correlated, right? So the Dixie's down, the S&P's down, Bitcoin's down. We're all positively correlated. So a bounce in the Dixie doesn't necessarily mean everything's going to bounce. It's just, well, it's actually bad news because it means like that there's a what do you call it? That there's a loss of interest in everything in crypto, in US assets, crypto assets, stock market. It's bad. Right, when everything's dropping together, it's bad. So anyway, when we look at the S&P again, this line here, as a reminder, was the daily 200 EMA. So that was my first target. I'm so freaking annoyed because I took this short, the most epic short, like right up here on Prime XBT, and I tried to close out only a partial position here yesterday. And it's very difficult how I hate that exchange, but I like how I can trade the S&P with crypto on it. And I only use it for that. But yeah, it closed out my whole position, which is friggin' annoying. But it's not that far of a target, so it's okay. We collected profits, it's fine. But it would have been nice to try and keep it into the next zone. But yeah, moral of the story is we're still at that daily time frame 200 EMA, and it doesn't really look like there's much interest to bounce out of here. So something, some sort of really good news for the market is going to have to come if this level is going to hold. So yeah, we're at risk of breaking down to the gap next. But we do have news events today to be aware of besides the crypto stuff. We've got all this stuff here, unemployment rate, Fed Chair Powell speaking, and Trump speaking again at 10:30. And, it's Friday. So if you look back over the last few months, Fridays, especially US or after US, have been really quite volatile. So it might be difficult to trade. I'm not necessarily interested in trading today. I'm more interested in seeing if any news or anything that comes out happens to push price into my predetermined targets where I think a pivot might happen. That's more of my interest today, where I should say where I think a longer term pivot might happen. If I can see something like that, I'll act, but I'm not really trying to be part of any bullshit that might kind of go on today. So yeah, that's how I feel on the higher time frame about things. So then let's go down. Hang on a second. let's go down and assess what happened overnight. Actually, let me just take one quick look at the 4 hour just in case. So yeah, so this was from, you know what it's from if you watch my updates every day. It's possible that this M is forming right now, but it's not confirmed yet either. So we've got an M formation. It would need to break the center peak and then retest to be a confirmed M. So the M can fail if we come back into this area of interest and hold. So just keep that in mind. The 1 hour. So obviously this was where whatever happened, some news. And look, if you take that out, if you just look at price what it is, it's in a downtrend, right? It's still lower highs, even with whatever that fake price action there was. So on the 1 hour, it's pretty critical that we get back above the initial high of the day if we're going to be long from here. This is not price action I personally want to be involved in. I do see a break below the 50, a retest of it currently. So if we can't get back above the initial high of the day, then yeah, we would expect level 2 drop, level 3 drop on the 1 hour time frame. We would expect at a minimum we'll come back to the low of the week. But if it's a news related reason that we drop down, it could get dramatic and it could come into these zones. Let's have a look at our recent liquidity. So there we go. We've got pretty good liquidity at the low of the week. This cluster here would probably turn out to be a level 2. This could turn out to be a level 3. Yeah, so it doesn't look great for upside. And then on the 15-minute, pretty much was bang on yesterday. So yesterday, remember I did a big rant on this candle right here and told you what happens when we return there. So at the time I did the video, I think this had already happened. Yeah, I think we were here and I said we may not come back into that zone because there were 3 levels. So we have broken down from there. They didn't make it easy though. They didn't give us a perfect reversal because it's not an M formation. It's a V, inverted V formation, which they're hard, right? They're hard to get as a trade unless they come as the result of a liquidation event, then you can pick it. But this one I would not have picked. But there was multiple rejections of the 50% Asia. Now that's it. That was a clear because that rejection was in UK and that rejection was in US. That's a clear short. So if you had taken a short on any of those, your stop loss would be above the candles that fell away from 50% Asia. Your target would either be the next main level, which was this one here, or you could do 50% high low. That's a pretty safe one. I like that one. Or if you really want to stretch it down here, but let's go 50% high low. So as a first trade, that's a 3.8 risk to reward. And yeah, that would have played out. You wouldn't have got stopped out here because look how well the stop loss placement was. Perfect. That would have been a great day trade, banking profits situation. Great. Love it. Now we're waiting for the next drop, which again, it looks like it should drop. So if we have a look here, we've got this situation going on, which is a ascending triangle where the initial high of the day is the current resistance of that triangle. So if we can't break above it, I would expect that we're going to have our next drop and then hopefully another one after that. But yeah, like I said, I'm not trading it. I feel like it's just too risky to do today. And my focus, like I said, because we also have today's a really, I don't know why, but today's a very significant astrology day, but it's not significant for direction. It's significant for something big. So I don't know. I'll have to read through the astrology chat to see if anyone has talked about it. But for that reason, I do expect something big to happen, but I'm not 100% sure about whether that volatility will take me out. So yeah, unless something becomes really obvious, like to me, this is actually really obvious, to be honest with you. But yeah, unless something becomes really obvious, then I think I'd stay away. But what would be obvious to me in this zone is staying under the 200 EMA and the initial high of the day. Asia ends now in 3 minutes. So, if we get like uh I'd just like to move up into that zone and show me like an inverted hammer or something like that. I would take a short from there. I think that would be really good. It would take out this liquidation here. So a nice spike up, wreck some people, come back, UK runs it down. Yeah, that would be delicious actually. So that would probably be the only time I would act on this. Otherwise, yeah, I don't want to be part of creepy price action. If I get involved, you guys know now, if you've been trading with me when I go live, I like to be part of these train wrecks. I don't like to be part of creepy price action. So if I see that I think, okay, I can see a trap, I reckon speed is going to come in, I'll take a short today. But if anything else happens, I won't. So yeah, but I will also look at S&P at the time of doing it to see if it looks like it's going to break down. I'll look at DIX is dead. Like it's freaking dead. So dead. So yeah, I'll have a quick squeeze of those before I enter. And if I can see my manipulation, that will excite me, and then I would open a short. But if anything else happens, it's being unpredictable, and I don't want to be part of it. So I would imagine it's probably the same for everything else. Yeah, I would expect that what are these altcoins might have a bit more of a recovery. So maybe they'll do a full recovery of this vector. Look at this on ETH. We've got this one here that it would become a very key area now because we got liquidate. No, I think these liquidations are old. Let me redo them. No. Oh, it's not old. Yeah. So we've got liquidations at the 200 EMA. We've got this vector here, which was the battle zone of the tug of war. Like that's all freaking delicious. The initial high of the day is just under it. So anywhere here, top of the vector, liquidation, 200 EMA, battle zone, anything here, if we can get a stop hunt into it, that's just an easier entry. But if it's not a stop hunt, it could be that we get a railroad track there or a star formation or just a bearish engulfing or just inverted hammer or something like that. I think that would be really good. But yeah, if it's not that obvious, I'm staying out. Then I'll just so Solana's in the zone now of that candle. So it looks like all of these cryptos are going to have that candle. So that would be my area of interest today. If it got above it, I don't think I would go long. But if I change my mind, I'll let you know. Okay, bye.